ND filter. I've tried it, and I haven't. I mean, there's a lot to learn with one of them. First of all, you buy them things you buy a larger one than you need and step it down to your lens, and um, my 24 millimeter was still
Yeah,
vignetting badly
yeah,
with a UV filter still on it, and trying to screw right on top of that. It was really giving me some really funky things. So anyway, if I take that off, it does a lot better. It moves that in closer. But I think if I bought a little larger unit, it would have been better. I bought a 77 millimeter, and my lens is 72 millimeters. So uh,
right.
but uh,
Explain to a novice or someone that's not familiar with it, what is a neutral density filter? What do, what
it's
are,
basically sunglasses for your camera, and in layman's terms, I guess you would say. It allows you to shoot slower speeds in lighted, sunlight or well lighted situations where normally if you slow it down that much to stop or to smooth out what I say call the glassy look of water and things like that, you can't really do it real easy without overexposing your picture. So
right. And a lot of photographers use the neutral density filters for super long exposure times. So
yep.
there's a topic out there called year long exposures. And you may want to look some of that up as in the audience, but look up year long exposures in photography, and you'll see some pretty fascinating images that
Yep.
where photographers have left their shutters open for 1 year, just lock it in, leave it open, come back a year later and see what they have on that frame. And it's one frame at a time. So you got to be very patient.
Yeah, but it's just another way of being creative,
Yeah.
another tool in,
Another.
in the toolbox. So
So what you're showing or what you have is something they call a variable neutral density filter. So what makes it different than just an average everyday neutral density filter?
I've actually got two. I bought a cheap set about 2 years ago just to play with. Plastic, um, give you a really funky color. Really bad about any angle light hazing it over.
Right.
So I bought this a new one this year, and I debated whether to buy a variable or not, and just the variable gives you the ability to have that multiple filters there basically without having to keep sliding in and out.
Right. Feel different.
So
Do you
but you
have
can
a filter?
kind of dial it in to where to condition that you're at or you're in. So
Do you have a filter handy? Do you
yeah.
have? Yeah. So that's what it
So
sort of.
if it's right now it doesn't have any light blocking, and as you turn it,
Oh,
and
okay.
it starts getting darker. I think this camera is going to adjust to.
I try to adjust. Yeah, but
Yeah.
I can see what difference it would make in terms of, yeah. So that's completely locked down.
Yeah.
What we call locked down on the exposure, or basically the aperture would be almost always all the way shut.
Yeah, and there's a lot of I read a lot before I bought it, and there's a lot of people don't like neutral density filters or the variable filters because they do. If you get to a certain point in them, they give you an Xing. You get a point where you get cross hatches and things like that, and you just got to be careful about how
Is that
far you turn it.
is that due to the digital, what digital does, or would you also see that no matter what medium Is that just
I think it's just you're getting to the point where you're across the the way it filters and creates the darkness. I think you're getting beyond its design. I guess now it may be something else going on beyond me, anyways.
well? I'll tell you what. Let's look at some of your images that you had that you used. Let's look at this waterfall. Explain this shot.
Yeah, that one was 2 years ago. That's called Mouse Creek up in the mountains, and this one is taken with that old cheap. I mean, like $15 or so set of Neutrodentia filters. In this case, it's a f11 and like a 4-second exposure.
In
Uh,
sunlight.
yeah, it's fairly light there in that area, but I didn't have any um, light was from the side. And I think it was cloudy that day too, but I didn't have any, direct or any angle light coming into the lens, so it worked fairly well with them cheap filters.
Right. Okay, let's look at the next shot here. This is another perspective. Is this the same day?
It's same trip. A couple of days later, f22 6-second exposure. Probably this one could pretty close to be done without. If it wasn't so bright, anyways, it was fairly bright that day. Uh, you can almost do this by just closing down, your aperture. But this just another. Like I say, I was getting a little bit of hazing in this, a little grayish. I've had
Yeah.
to adjust this one out. So, but
Let me ask you, have you heard of a split neutral density filter?
yes, this old set has that where you can actually load the top and the bottom. I've done that. Some of my moon shots that I've taken out over the water at night, I have to block the top because the moon is so intense, I guess you would say.
Right.
And then to collect that on the water, you either do that or you cover up half of it, and you can almost. I mean, it just depends on how you want to do the shot.
Yeah, there's other tricks that you can do,
Yeah.
and it would take me a while to explain them. But there's all sorts of tricks that you can do to basically dodge and burn during the
Yep.
exposure, during the
Right.
shot itself. And this is one more that you're showing here that is that you sent me. Now explain this shot and
That one was last night, sunset.
okay.
I ran out. This one is taken with the new variable
Okay.
neutral density filter. To f10, that was a 25-second, exposure.
Wow.
So it's getting on. I had the filter closed down quite a bit on it. So it's
Right. And you can see, of course, how smooth the water
yeah,
almost looks almost like it's frozen. Yeah.
right. It gives you that really glassy look.